Good afternoon. This is Raul Vergara coming to you from our Solar Hub here at Cutler Solar Solutions. If you've been following our stories on Instagram and YouTube, you know we've been talking a lot lately about Senate Bill 1024 and House Bill 741. So I'm coming to you today with a quick update, a little more clarification in how this proposed legislation can affect every single Floridian in Florida. So let's get right into what is Senate Bill 1024 and House Bill 741. They're sister bills. They're basically identical to each other. Senator Bradley and Representative McClurry have gotten together to introduce this legislation in Tallahassee, basically asking the Public Service Commission to revamp the way that net metering is done today. Net metering is a billing mechanism by which the public utility companies charge the customers and give the customers credit for the energy that is either produced and or consumed in a house that has renewable energy panels installed. And they're asking the Public Service Commission to take a look at this and by January 1st, 2023, come up with a new rate structure that is fair for all Floridians. The basis for these bills is that today the public utility companies are claiming that if a homeowner installs solar panels in their home, they are costing non-solar customers $30 million a year. And the public utility company is forced to carry that burden and pass it along to other consumers that do not benefit from the solar panels in their homes. This is absolutely not true. Every single case study that has been done has proven that a person that installs solar panels on their homes not only benefits themselves by lowering their consumption and lowering their electric bills, but they benefit everybody else by strengthening the infrastructure. That improvement that they make to their home, that $15,000, $20,000 improvement that they make to their home, is an improvement that is made to strengthen and make the grid more resilient and produce energy that is shared not only for their home, but at times with everybody else. In today's mechanism, it's already in place. In today's net metering mechanism, the Public Service Commission already has a rate structure that does not give the homeowner full dollar value for what they produce. While they enjoy full retail value during the daytime and the nighttime and the exchange of power, the homeowner that overproduces at the end of the year is only getting 2.5 cents a kilowatt hour. That is far below what it will cost the public utility companies to produce that energy. So in today's net metering agreement between the solar customer and the public utility company, the Public Service Commission has already built in mechanism to properly pay back the homeowner and make sure that the public utility company is profitable in their functions. We have received many questions over the past couple of weeks about the effects of Senate Bill 1024, House Bill 741. A lot of the solar customers want to know, how am I affected? What is going to happen to me if this bill passes? And absolutely, the current solar customers will be affected, but the public utility companies, in order to appease current solar customers, have offered to grandfather them in between 10 years and 25 years. Right now, 10 years is what's on the bill. The discussions are for an amendment to grandfather today's rates up to 25 years for current solar customers. And then many other customers are feeling, well, how is it going to affect if I buy solar into the future? To be honest with you, the people that really need to be worried about this bill, the people that need to pay attention and to speak up against this bill, are not the solar customers. Like we said, the solar customers are going to be grandfathered. Future solar customers are going to have a solar benefit. But the people that are going to be affected the most are 11.6 million Floridians who today are getting their power from the utility companies, from the public utility companies. And those are the people that this bill affects the most. the non-solar customers who are getting their power today from the public utility companies, specifically those in underserved communities, those who are already spending a disappropriate amount of their personal budget into the utility bills. This is the people that need to be involved. This is the people that need to follow this bill and make sure that it does not get passed, because your rates are going to increase if this bill passes. This is not a bill about solar energy. This is a bill about protecting the profits of public utility companies. And by protecting their profits, you and I, who buy our power from the public utility company, not the solar customer, you, the customer without solar panels, the customer who's already spending a disappropriate amount of your budget on electricity, you are the one that are going to have to pay more for your electricity, because we pass a bill, we pass a law that allows the utility companies to raise their rates and charge more, because they don't have to worry about competition. We have solidified a monopoly in place that threatens your dollars that you're spending today. So if you're a non-solar customer, if you're a customer who does not have solar panels, you are the one that needs to be aware of this bill, and you're the one that needs to be protecting of your budget, because if this bill passes, your electricity is going to go up in price because there is no competition. So I know that when I mention that non-solar customers are the ones that have to be worried about this bill, are the ones that are going to be affected, everybody's like, whoa, this bill's about net metering. If I don't have solar panels in my house, if I don't have net metering, how can this bill affect me? And the fact is that today, when a solar customer buys solar panels and they put them on their rooftop, they're producing kilowatt hours, they're producing energy, and that energy is used in their home, and then it goes out to the grid. And those solar panels produce energy just like Turkey Point produces energy, just like a solar farm produces energy, or a natural gas power plant produces energy. There is no difference. The difference is that when a solar customer invests $15,000 into the grid, those $15,000 are provided by the solar customer. Nobody else has to provide any money. No infrastructure is needed to transfer that energy around, and nobody reimburses that customer for those $15,000 they invested. But if FPL or any one of the public utility companies invest $15,000 into the grid, the Public Service Commission is asked to issue a reimbursement to the public utility company. So already next year, 2024 and 2025, the public utility companies have asked the Public Service Commission to allow them to get reimbursed for all of the money they invest into these new solar farms. So if we pass this bill and Senate Bill 1024 and or House Bill 741 go into effect, and we do not facilitate for people to invest by putting solar panels on their own rooftops, if we slow that down, those solar panels are going to have to come from the public utility companies. We're about to electrify our state. We're about to need a lot more power in our state. Electric cars, more density, high rises, more people living in Florida, all equal more electricity. All that energy has to come from somewhere. If we stop the solar industry, people are not incentivized to put panels onto the rooftop, and we do not allow them to make their own investment, which nobody has to pay them back, then the only place for that investment to come from is the public utility companies, and those public utility companies are going to come back and get reimbursed, and you are going to have to pay for it. So we can basically make it easier, we can facilitate, not incentivize. We don't have to pay them anything for people to put solar panels on their own roofs, for businesses to put solar panels on their roofs, or we can pass these bills, we can allow these bills to become law, and everybody, all 11.6 million Floridians today that get their power from the public utility companies will have to pay higher electric rates, because that incentive, that money that's being today put onto the grid from private individuals will not be there. So you're going to have to make the difference. And that's why 11.6 million Floridians need to get involved, need to contact the legislature, need to let them know that we do not want this bill to become law. There's been a lot of conversation about how the solar industry will basically be killed by this bill. The solar industry today in Florida is employing over 41,000 people. This is jobs in distribution, this is jobs in manufacturing, this is jobs in sales, this is jobs in engineering, construction jobs. These are well-paying jobs. This is 41,000 jobs that are threatened by this bill. In other states where similar laws have passed, we've seen as big a decline as 85% decline in solar installations. We don't have to go out of state. We can look in the state of Florida. Jacksonville, which is not an area serviced by a public utility company, is basically it's an area serviced by a local co-op, recently passed a similar law. Since that law has been passed, we have seen a 94% decrease in solar installations in that market. So without even going out of state, we can take a look at case studies done within Florida where we have seen a 94% decline in solar installations. Nevada basically passed a similar law in 2018, protecting the profits of the public utility companies. The solar industry was so devastated, so many solar installations were never completed, so many jobs were lost across the state, that 3 years after, basically the Public Service Commission came back and says, we made a mistake, we need to correct it, and they went back to original rate structures, and even today, we're still far behind in solar installations. A study was done in Florida, and we believe that if we were today to move forward with this law the way that it's written, solar installations will go back to the rate of installation at 2013. Far below where we are today, and far below what we need to be if we want to prevent every Floridian's rates in electricity to go up by allowing people to install solar panels in their homes. This law will have a devastating effect on the solar industry. It will destroy many, many good paying jobs, but more importantly, this law is going to affect everybody else by raising their rates. So to give an update from our last video, that YouTube video that we have posted, basically we were all concerned with the law being introduced in Tallahassee. Last week was the first week of the legislative session, and the bill was heard in the Regulatory Business Committee. I have a chance to go up to Tallahassee, not only testify in front of the committee, along with many other members of the community and members of the solar industry, FLACIA, and other solar installers, as well as manufacturers. And we had a chance to testify in front of the committee and also meet one-on-one with a lot of our legislators up in Tallahassee. Specifically, I had a fantastic meeting with Representative McCleary, and what we discussed back and forth, number one, the law's not needed because the rate structure for net metering already has built-in apparatuses, for example, minimum bills that can be put into place. But more importantly, about how this bill would affect Floridians across the state, not just solar customers, but the non-solar customers. And once he understood how the grid works and basically the different components to this bill and how they would affect our rate structures today, one of the things that he's asked is for the industry, solar industry, and the public utility companies to come together to talk and to try to come up with some kind of compromise where the public utility companies feel like they're protected but we're also protecting the solar industry. And more importantly, his biggest concern is to make sure that we are protecting Floridians. Because he understood that if we were to pass this law as it is written today, if we were to introduce this law into the House and pass it as it is written today, it was going to raise the rates of all of those Floridians. So basically, he's asked us to put together the numbers, put together the information, and go back and let him know so that he can introduce a better bill. He can introduce into the House a better version than the one that's introduced into the Senate. That bill was supposed to be heard this week in the House, and he has chosen to wait until he has more information from both the solar industry and the public utility companies so that he can introduce a law that makes sense and protects Floridians. Similarly, Senator Bradley allowed us to present our points of view, and from our points of view, many different amendments have been spoken about, strengthening the length of time where people will be grandfathered into the law, allowing people to be off the grid, allowing for a transition into these new net metering rates, not a cut and dry, but a transition into them. A lot of things are happening, and these things are happening because people are getting informed. So I ask you to please get informed and make sure you're contacting all of your legislators in Tallahassee at this point, whoever represents you, because it is very important that whoever is representing you understand how important it is not to pass a law that's going to raise your electric bill. And to make it really easy to contact the right legislature, the right senator, the right representative, we have put a link in our video. You just do is click this link and it'll open up basically a landing page where all the information is there and you can contact directly your representative. So there's no excuses. It's real simple. All you gotta do is click.